Welcome back to the Delaware Way. Among the organizations from all across the country that sued the Trump administration over their travel ban was the ACLU in Delaware. And here to talk about that is Kathleen MacRae, Executive Director of the ACLU in Delaware. I said many organizations, I should correct that. It was the ACLU for the most part in states across the country and state governments in Hawaii and Washington and Maryland. So it was not many organizations. It was only in that it was the ACLU in those states.
Well, and there are other immigrant organizations, national immigrant organizations that we partner with as well. So it's not just the ACLU.
Okay. Tell me how yours differentiates from the state lawsuits, because that's the ones that get the most attention. The Hawaiian lawsuit and Maryland, which is close by. Did you join in on Maryland, by the way?
The ACLU of Delaware did not, but the ACLU of Maryland led that lawsuit. So I think what's important to understand regarding the lawsuits is that the ACLU and other groups feel that the Muslim ban, whether it's version 1 or version 2, is unconstitutional.
Let me push back, because you keep calling it a Muslim ban, and in the press they keep calling it a travel ban. And the reason I think that they differentiate, and this is what you hear from the other side on this argument, sure, is that most Muslims in the world are not affected by this. Because I think 6 or 7 of the top Muslim countries' population aren't affected by this at all. So how can it be a Muslim ban if most Muslims aren't affected?
Well, I think because in the countries that are affected, the Muslim population is 90 to 99% of that population. And I just take President Trump at his word. All through the campaign, he said he wanted to ban Muslims from the United States. We see this as a first step in that process.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? His words during the campaign. But can you use campaign rhetoric? Can you hold someone to campaign rhetoric? Don't you have to look at the actual document?
Both. You can, but his words during the campaign are definitely part of the discovery and the evidence that the judge will consider in these cases.
So no matter what the document says and what the document excludes, you can say we know what his intent was.
We have religious protections in this country, the First Amendment. We also have, under the Equal Protection Clause, that says you should not discriminate based on national origin. So both on religious discrimination and national origin discrimination, the travel ban, the Muslim travel ban as we call it, we consider that to be unconstitutional, and so far the courts have agreed with us.
Yeah, they have, and now the concern is that this is going first to the appellate process, which is going to happen very quickly. But no matter what happens there, the guess by most legal analysts is that this will go to the Supreme Court.
It's very likely, I believe.
And now you have Neil Gorsuch in there in the Supreme Court. Was that one of your concerns with the Neil Gorsuch nomination in the first place?
You know, I think it's important to remember that the courts are supposed to be apolitical, and for the most part they are. I mean, ideology does not drive all court decisions, and the Constitution is still held in value by all the members of the Supreme Court. I'm convinced of that. But ultimately, I think the suit must be determined on the legal merits of the case.
And the legal merits of the case, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is on the one side there is that this is unconstitutional because it goes against our Constitution in saying there are certain religious rights and people shouldn't be discriminated against on those rights. And the other side is this wide power that's given to the executive branch when it comes to national security. Right. So the burden would be on them to prove that this is really a national security risk, would it not?
That's part of the argument, and the judges that have stopped the travel ban from going into effect have specifically said that they have not proven that it is a risk. Because think of it, none of the terrorists that have on 9/11 or that have attacked the country since came from those particular countries. They came from Saudi Arabia, which is not included in the travel ban, for example. So we feel that we have very strong arguments, strong case.
What is your gut as it goes to the Supreme Court? Because it seems like the administration is feeling fairly confident. They didn't go after the first travel ban. They didn't even challenge it. They challenged this one, and now it seems like they're being very aggressive because they feel the district courts and the Supreme Court may be on their side.
I don't think that means they're going to win. I really don't. I mean, the Constitution is crystal clear, both regarding religious discrimination and national origin discrimination. And yes, the executive has more power to control who comes in and who doesn't, but ultimately the Constitution is the governing body of this country, and the Supreme Court respects the Constitution and respects constitutional law.
In the appellate court, and as it makes its way through the judicial system, the role of the ACLU in Delaware, do you file briefs in support of against the ban?
What we did recently was actually join together to file a lawsuit to get information as to how the ban is being implemented. We made the request, the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act request, in the beginning of February. We got no response, so we filed a lawsuit compelling Customs and Border Patrol Protection to release the information, and that process has just begun.
And you'll please let us know, keep coming back and let us know what's happening?
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Kathleen MacRae, Executive Director of the ACLU in Delaware. When we come back, you've heard of the TED Talks. TEDx is the local version of that, and it's made some important changes in Wilmington just from people getting together and talking. We'll talk about how you can get involved when the Delaware Way continues.